This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you as live as it can be from Honolulu, Hawaii, overlooking Greater Oahu. The lead stories are SpaceX. Their next-gen Raptor engine is in Texas for testing. Facial recognition is being used at airports without any legislative restrictions whatsoever. Social media to be monitored for disability fraud. And Apple has a big event on March 25th. It's titled, It's Showtime. I want to welcome you to episode 1351 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, March 11th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You too can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to all the brand new listeners of the show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking the show out for the very first time. And of course, if you're a long-time subscriber, thanks for being part of the Ohana, being part of the family, and your continued support of the show is greatly appreciated. But again, for those of you brand new, make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. Subscribe to the show right on the right-hand column of the website, whether it be via Apple Podcasts, on Android, email, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify. Pick your audio poison, audio consumption app. We're really everywhere you are, and grab the show. So definitely do that. Of course, while you're on the website, subscribe to the newsletter. The newsletter link is a little bit further down the page. It contains, basically that newsletter contains everything I'm going to cover in the show tonight. Everything that will be in the actual show notes as well. So we want you to get signed up for that newsletter as well. That's the best way to stay connected here and get connected and be part of the Ohana here at Geek News Central. Of course, you can join our live chat room at geeknews.chat. That's our Mastodon server where all the cool kids hang out. So go over there and sign up for an account at geeknews.chat. Of course, we're live at on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Mixer. Where else are we live? I think we're live a couple other places. Live stream, I think. So we're live on all those locations. And if you have comments or commentary about today's show, you can send me an email, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at geeknews. You can always follow me on Facebook. Partner shows include, and these are all linked to Geek News Central, the GNC Week in Review, the Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site, the New Media Show, and of course, Podcast Legends. You can pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. We want to thank the longest sponsor of a podcast, and that's our good friends at GoDaddy.com. You too can find great deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. All my promo codes are there. Everything to save money, whether it be 30% off a new product purchase, a 99cent.com, $1 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $1 a month managed WordPress hosting again for the first year with a free domain. You can also grab 1 month free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. Since we talked last time, I did get the reporting in from our friends at GoDaddy. We had a good month last month, which was fantastic. So I want to thank all of you for your support during the month of February. And of course, now that we're hot and heavy into the month of March, don't forget about the sponsor. If you know a friend or family member or have someone that you know that's looking for a website, you too can help them out by suggesting they use one of my promo codes. It is just like an in-show donation. We appreciate it when you do that. And of course, we appreciate it when you link to the website via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you may hang out socially online. Please share my page with your friends and family. And friends, it definitely helps the show out a great deal. And of course, we want to thank GoDaddy for their longtime sponsorship here at Geek News Central. I spent a whole hour at, actually not an hour, 30 minutes and 56 slides at PodFest talking about the GoDaddy sponsorship in great detail. And Had a nice receptive crowd, so I'm pretty happy with that. First time I've given this particular presentation, and it went over well. But again, thanks to GoDaddy for continuing to be a sponsor here at Geek News Central. Don't forget about our live show, live.geeknewscentral.com. That's where the YouTube page is at, or that's where the YouTube stream is at. We're up on Facebook now. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you check in and say hello. And of course, hello to Michael. Yes, we missed you at PodFest this year. Don't worry, it's getting bigger. You'll be there next year. We'll look forward to seeing you again next year there. Okay, so let me go ahead and kind of run down a little bit. It's really, since I left you, it's been meetings, PodFest, meetings, and then home. Got home what day did I get home? Yeah, yesterday, about 4:30 in the afternoon. I think I was in bed by 8. The jet lag just fell upon me, but definitely back here in the studio. Feels good to be back in Honolulu, getting everything taken care of. Did get some time to spend some time with my granddaughter, which was fun, and my daughter, of course, who came in from Tampa to hang out. So I had a nice time with them. But I've been looking at the timeline and trying to figure out. I actually called today to get some quotes on what it's going to cost to ship my stuff to the mainland. And I'm thinking our last video day, probably until the way it's looking, it's going to take 30 to 35 days to get everything shipped. Once it goes in the container and they pick it up, put it on the ship, and then cross shipment it across the United States, it'll probably be end of June before I have the gear. Then I'll probably be another week at least putting things back together. So I'm hoping sometime the first week of July, maybe, to be back with video. But the studio teardown is going to happen in around, I would expect the last video show is probably going to be around the 20th of May. And things are going to be a little nuts during that period, as you would expect. May 20th and May 24th will probably be the last live show here in Honolulu. And then we'll go to audio for the time during the transition. So it's a little ways off yet, but really not that far. 2 months and some change. And a lot's going on. I've got basically, I think 3 weeks worth of trips yet to do. I'll be going out to Vegas for NAB. I'll be headed to Columbus to spend a week in the office there. Then I have I think 5 or 6 days on the East Coast doing some stuff. And then back here right around the 4th of May with really not a lot of time left. And it's going to be kind of crazy. Obviously very stressful time overall as well. Just trying to make all these wickets and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the plan here. And I'm thinking, though, I may ship 2 Pelican cases of stuff that will contain the TriCaster Mini. So maybe I'll have some sort of makeshift studio set up for an interim type thing. I don't know yet. Haven't decided, but I'm thinking that might be the case. But anyway, I think the pod is going to be delivered here on the 24th, I believe, and then I'm going to stuff it and get it out of here, and then turn and burn in the very early, probably the first week of June, heading towards the mainland. But lots happening, and we'll keep you advised and everything else. I'm just trying, I'm thinking here, because most of the monitors in the studio, I do not have boxes for. And I'm just saying, how am I going to pack and ship all these things up and keep them from getting busted up? I have a little bit of an idea, because some of the monitors match, and I'll probably screen to screen them and then tape them together and then box them up and shipping. I think there's going to be some risk, but don't need to be buying all brand new monitors again. I am definitely going to ship them. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this all goes because I'm packing it out. There's no one else gonna be doing the pack out except for me. So yeah, if I don't pack something good enough, it'll I might hire someone to come in and help me. I don't know yet. Not fully decided, but I've got a limited amount of room in my shipping pod, 8 by 8 by 16. I'm trying to limit that to one because it's about $6,200 to ship one pod. So if I can get everything in one pod, it'll be good because otherwise it's like 12 grand total to ship everything. So I don't think I can fill two pods, but I'm definitely probably going to stuff one to the gills. So time will tell. We'll see where this leads, and we'll keep you advised. And lots of stuff to talk about as we go through the summer for sure. All right, so let me go ahead and get into the content, get into the stack of stuff tonight that I have for you. We'll start off with an article that is actually leading on Geek News Central. And there is a watching 5 minutes plus, nothing but promo. Yes, of course. So starting here with the first article up, we've got Elizabeth Warren, where she talks about wanting to break up tech industry. And if you think about the move here, it's pretty strong. She says if she's elected president in 2020, her administration will break up the giants of the tech industry. And this was announced at South by Southwest and is detailed on Medium. In that post, she mentioned Amazon, Google, and Facebook. She would classify any company that runs a marketplace and makes more than $25 billion a year in revenue as a platform utility and will prohibit those companies from using those platforms to selling their own products. The Verge interviewed her, and her plan includes Apple, which was not mentioned in the Medium post. She wants to break Apple apart from their App Store. As far as I can tell, the plan also calls for Google to be split from Google Play, and this is pretty strong language here. She says the problem is not that's not competition. That's just using market dominance, not because they had a better product or because they were somehow more customer friendly or in a better place. It's just using market dominance. So my principle is exactly the same. What was applied to the railroad companies more than 100 years ago, we need to now look at those platforms, tech platforms, the same way. In short, the plan would essentially prevent Amazon from selling Amazon basic products on the Amazon retail store. It would stop Google from promoting its own products in Google search and require Facebook to split apart from Instagram and WhatsApp. And this is a strong push for antitrust enforcement of an industry that has not been touched by those laws. So I think there was a notification that Facebook somehow had stopped, or Google, someone had actually stopped taking ads from her, or there was a little bit of a, looked like minor retribution from her commentary, but pretty strong words to say that they're going to break up the tech industry. And I'm just kind of curious what your guys' thoughts on this. This has never been really put forth before. And I think the impact would be pretty negative, to be honest with you. But I guess it would all go to what depths are they going to go to break these companies up? If you think about breakups and how some of the biggest breakups ever actually made some companies more strong. You look at AT&T when they broke AT&T up and forced it to get rid of the regional bells. AT&T then become a much more stronger company over time, and they're not even a shadow of what they were before, because AT&T was strictly a long distance company, and for a period. Then they got into the mobile and media and everything else. So breakups sometimes make companies stronger, but not always. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. I haven't really formed an opinion yet. My tendency say is a bad thing, to be honest with you. But then again, there's a lot of negative around big corporations today. People are thinking they're getting too big for the britches, per se. So I'd love to hear what you all think, all right? SpaceX, their next-gen Raptor rocket engine is about to meet the Starship in Texas. And so there was a picture that was caught and posted on Twitter. It showed the uncrated Raptor engine. And what they're going to be doing here is they're going to mount it to the Starship test platform, and they're going to be doing some tethered test. And there'll be a short static fire test, and then they're saying the vehicle will be tethered and the test won't be visible to the public. So we'll see what happens with this. But they're now ready to figure out what they want to do, and how they're, if they're going to be able to make this thing work and make it perform the way they think it's going to perform. So exciting stuff there on the SpaceX front. All right. And yes, I missed the launch, and of course the launch of the International Space Station went off without a hitch, and the capsule is back, splashed down, picked up. So another good run for the SpaceX team while I was in Florida. The United States is setting up facial recognition at major airports, according to the folks at CNET, without proper vetting. Customer and Border Protection reportedly have no limits on how participating airlines can use biometric data. So they're reportedly rushing to set up this facial recognition, and they're going to be in all of the top 20 U.S. airports by 2021. This is being done without proper vetting. There were reportedly no limits on how partnering airlines could use the facial recognition data collected by U.S. Customs and Border Protection Program. The BuzzFeed's deep dive into 346 pages of documents obtained by the Electronic Privacy Information Center, a nonprofit research group, reported limited participating companies and third-party firms from using this data in December, but it's unclear how the new rule is being enforced. Now, CBP basically replied that it's keeping photos of non-U.S. citizens departing the country for up to 14 days. What are they doing with U.S. citizens? That is the question. By partnering with airports and airlines to provide a secure standalone system that works quickly and reliably, which they will integrate into their boarding process, CBP does not have to rebuild everything from the ground up. So if you think about it, though, biometrics and everything is coming in big. I've signed up for Clear. Clear is really, man, I'm going to tell you, I use Clear a lot. And really impressed so far with Clear, because when the TSA pre-line is long, I go over to the Clear station, and there's not in every airport, but the ones I've been traveling through recently have had it. Put my 2 fingers down, get a fingerprint taken. It shows my picture. The guy stamps my boarding pass. Boom. I'm into the front of the line with TSA pre. I don't even have to show the TSA agent my ID and drop my stuff on the belt and go through. So biometric stuff is starting to be used even more. And I would imagine at some point we'll be able to walk up to our airport carrier, basically stand there to have the camera look at us, bring up our itinerary, and we should be able to check in very quickly with biometric data. It only makes sense in airports, and especially if you're trying to clear and move people quicker. If someone's a known traveler, it could really speed up the process in a big way. All right, next up, the administration has announced that they may monitor social media, catch disability fraud. So if you're claiming disability benefits, and later they find a picture of you hiking or going out dancing, this could get you in trouble. This new administration rule would allow agency officials to snoop on social media accounts of Social Security disability recipients. The administration is working with the Social Security Administration to propose a new rule that will allow for social media monitoring in order to crack down on fraud. So this rule would allow the SSA to use all collection tools to recover funds in certain scenarios, as well as hold fraud investigators liable for overpayments. Right-wing think tanks such as the Heritage Foundation and the Republican Party have long attacked the disability benefits program as being wasteful and rife with abuse, but the number of disability beneficiaries is actually decreasing due to a stronger economy. Roughly 9.2 million Americans received disability benefits in 2017. So, and the people that receive Social Security disability insurance receive a monthly payment after not being able to work for a year or more due to a disability. And of course, we know that families of the deceased beneficiaries are also eligible for those payments in some cases. Specifically, kids will get some Social Security benefits from a deceased parent until they're 18. So, interesting move here. The only effect that could happen here is if someone posts an old picture and how they could potentially be rolled up when they were doing an activity when they weren't disabled. So we'll see how this all falls out. But I think we've all heard about insurance companies having private investigators hiding out and trying to catch people doing activities that they quote unquote supposedly are not able to do. And oftentimes people have gotten caught, mowing the yard when they supposedly have a bad back or, some activity that shows that they're not disabled in order to get out of paying insurance disability payments. So the tech is going to be continued to be used against folks for sure. All right, and Apple on March 25th is having an event. It's official. It's called It's Showtime. And the rumors were true, and we'll see what happens here. They're going to have this special event at the Steve Jobs Theater in Cupertino. So the guest here is Apple TV and movies and news magazines, everything around media. They're also going to talk about iOS 12.2 release and talking about HomeKit TVs that work with Siri and Apple Home App 9 to 5 Mac. Is going to be there, of course, doing a live stream. But we'll see what happens here on March 25th. And just a short 2 weeks away from today. So I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to announce on the media side this go around. Nice to see that there's going to be a software/service event versus just something new on the hardware side. Facebook has went out today and did something unique. They have sued Ukrainians over a quiz app that stole your data. So I don't think I remember Facebook going after someone outside the United States yet, but maybe this is not so unusual. But they filed a lawsuit against two Ukrainian nationals over a series of quizzes. The quiz apps had names like Supertest, Megatest, and F-Quiz, and came as a browser extension, which allowed the developers to harvest data and inject advertisements on the Facebook page, according to the lawsuit. The operation affected 63,000 browsers and happened between 2016 and 2018. Oh, and it targeted Russian users. So the lawsuit was filed late on Friday. It names two defendants as the creators behind the malicious quiz who worked for a company called Web Sun Group. So we'll see where this goes. How much are they going? They're going after $75,000 in damages. Where did they file this? Well, how are they going to do this? They filed this in the United States District Court of Northern District of California and are going after these folks in the Ukraine. Good luck on collecting on that. So time will tell where that one goes. Sprint is stepping up its fight against AT&T and their fake 5G that we've talked about here on the show a number of times, but they're coming up with a full page ad in Sunday's New York Times. And interesting go here. They basically said, "Dear wireless customers, While Sprint is working hard to deliver mobile 5G and the first 5G smartphone in the US, AT&T is hard working trying to convince you that they already won the race to 5G with something they call 5G evolution. That is simply untrue. Don't be fooled. 5G evolution isn't new or true 5G. It's fake 5G. They love for you to believe they are different, better. The truth is AT&T is simply offering customers a nationwide 4G LTE network, just like Sprint and all the other major wireless carriers. It's not 5G. We filed a lawsuit against AT&T demanding that they immediately end their false and deceptive marketing campaign. AT&T seems to be delighted by the depth and breadth of their deception. AT&T admitted that the company's 5G advertising is strictly a narrative to outline how they want the world to work, not a reflection of today's reality. So this was did it run already? They're showing a picture of it. So it must be it did go out yesterday. Well, they do show a picture of the, do people actually still read an actual newspaper? I haven't read a newspaper an actual paper newspaper in a long time. All right, John Oliver wants to fight robocalls by robocalling the FCC. He might be kind of brave to do that. The robocall goes like this. Hi, FCC. This is John from customer service. Congratulations, you just won a chance to lower robocalls in America today. Sorry, but I am a live person. Robocalls are incredibly annoying, and the person who can stop them is you. Talk to you again in 90 minutes. Here's some bagpipe music for you. So he's going to be robocalling the FCC commissioners every 90 minutes. We'll see how long this lasts and how big of a fine comes down. The new White House budget spells trouble for NASA's SLS rocket. So apparently the SLS is way behind. It was originally due to launch in 2017, and it's now likely delayed until 2021 or 2022 at the earliest. And the president's budget request calls for a 17% reduction in the budget for NASA's SLS, once viewed as the backbone of the space agency's effort to explore deep space. And he's basically saying, hey, you're too slow. And it looks like someone else has a heavy launch capability. So for the Europa robotic probe that's going to launch in the 2020s, they say, we're not going to put that on the SLS booster. Instead, we're going to launch it on a private rocket. And of course, this would be almost certainly SpaceX Falcon Heavy. And they said that NASA would save $700 million alone on that launch. Isn't that crazy? $700 million in savings on a single launch. So they haven't taken money all away, but they're saying, hey, we want you to really focus on the Block 1 delivery. I don't know what the definition of a Block 1 delivery of the SLS is, but anyway, I'm sure this will go for a battle in the Senate and House, and nothing is done deal, but at least that's the proposal. Also, the president asked for $9.6 billion to bolster cybersecurity in the 2020 budget. So supports the creation of the $9.6 billion also includes funds that will help the creation of the Space Force as a sixth branch of the armed forces. And the administration wants to increase the DoD spending by 5% to $718 billion. It's earmarking $9.6 billion to support 3 DoD cybersecurity objectives, safeguarding DoD's networks, information, and systems, and supporting military commanders' objectives in defending the nation. Funding would help expand Cyber Command, which is the cyber warfare division that last year granted more authority to carry out operation against foreign agencies and actors. Part of the DoD portion of the budget will set up the Space Force. The administration plans to form as a service again within the Air Force. What else? They're saying Air Force said it's going to cost about $13 billion to get the Space Command Space Force rolling. So anyway, $9.6 billion to bolster cybersecurity. Adobe is going to finally kill Shockwave on April 9th. There's some of the old web hanging on here. Adobe isn't just putting Flash on ice. In the wake of the customer emails, the software giant Signal will discontinue Shockwave for Windows on April 9th. The company has already phased out its director authoring tool and the Mac Player in 2017, but this really represents the web's plugins' final blow for most people. The only people receiving support beyond that will be enterprise customers. HTML5 really took over, and WebGL took over from Flash in a big way. Google, well, apparently Larry Page allegedly gave Steve Rubin a $150 million stock award without the board of directors' initial approval. So, Andy Page, excuse me, not Andy Rubin, not Steve Page. And what am I saying? Larry Page did not get board approval when he awarded a $150 million stock grant to Andy Rubin, the creator of the Android mobile software, who was at the time under investigation by the company for sexual harassment, according to a lawsuit. Page later got rubber stamp approval for the equity compensation package from a board leadership committee 8 days after he granted it in August 2014. According to a revised investor complaint made public on Monday, Rubin used the grant as leverage to secure a $90 million severance agreement when he left the company almost 3 months later. So, new allegations shed light on Page's power to compensate top executives and could add fuel to criticism the company board isn't strong enough to keep management accountable to the shareholders. It could also pull Page deeper into the controversy around how Google has handled sexual harassment complaints. So that is in the news on Bloomberg. AT&T is increasing DirecTV Now prices by $10 per month. Since 2016, the price has doubled and the number of channels has been cut in half. So those of you on AT&T's DirecTV, $10 more. And again, you don't have as many channels as you had when you started, all right? All right, PC World has got some of the listing of the best solid-state drives of 2019. So the Samsung 860 EVO SSD is still a high performer. They're still saying it's the fastest SSD you can buy, and but this particular honor on that goes to the advanced drives that transfer data over PCIe rather than a traditional SATA interface. And for those of you who don't know what the PCIe is, the drive looks like a memory stick almost. But these are still amazingly fast drives. The other SSDs are challenging Samsung 860 EVO is a SanDisk Ultra 3D, $70 for 500 gigs on Amazon. The other SanDisk Ultra 3D with a 3-year warranty lags behind the 5-year warranty of Samsung drives. The Western Digital Blue 3D NAND SATA SSD, $68 on SSD. And Seagate's Barracuda SSD manual is even faster than the 860 EVO in many situations, but suffers from occasional brief, bizarre performance dips, which cause it to be lower in the ranking here. Best budget is the Samsung 860 QVO SSD. So anyway, link will be up in the show notes on all these. So get a look on the best SSDs on the market today. Another article over on Geek News Central, Edison researchers found that Facebook usage continues to drop. Edison Research and Triton Digital posted the Infinite Dial 2019, and it's the latest report in a series of dating back to 1998. That covers consumer usage of media and technologies and tracked many new mediums, including podcasting. The Infinite Dial is the gold standard of nationally representative survey research data. Regarding social media, the latest study finds the number of current Facebook users continue to drop. The study shows an estimated 15 million fewer users of Facebook than in 2017 report. The declines are heavily concentrated among young people. So the folks that are bouncing are the young adults. See what age group here? The 12 to 34-year-olds. More than half of the U.S. population now reports having used YouTube specifically for music in the last week. This number is now 70 among 12 to 34-year-olds. What else? There's a number of issues here, but it sounds to me like Facebook is in big trouble with the younger folks. They're not fans. It's very, very obvious here. Right, the Tech Hive. Did you guys know that universal remote controls are still a thing? And they're very expensive now. Logitech still has one that's like $280. Why are these things so expensive still? It's crazy. But the Logitech Harmony 665 is $50. That's the best budget one. But if you're looking for a universal remote control for your entertainment system, the link will be up in the show notes for you as well. Amazon Alexa has hit 80,000 apps, and what's kind of funny is there's no runaway hit so far. But you think about that, 80,000 apps for Amazon Alexa, but yet nothing that really just rocks the boat here in a big, big way. As compared to mobile apps, which there have been some true winners out there. But I have the link up in the show notes for you. All right, for those in the UK, there's new drone and no-fly zones around UK airports. They're expanding this week. Starting this Wednesday, March 13th, it will be illegal to fly a drone within 3 miles of an airport in the UK, up to 0.6 mile limit that's currently in effect. The rule changes, which were first announced last month, more than quadruple the radius of each airport's drone-restricted airspace. The new laws in response to drone activity effectively shut down the UK's second largest airport, Gatwick, for over a day in the run-up to Christmas last year. And despite the incident affecting 1,000 flights, as many as 140,000 passengers, police still do not know who is responsible in the aftermath of the decision. Drone manufacturer DJI also announced tougher geofencing restrictions for its drones in Europe. So that's the drone news. So relatively short show today, and here's the reason why. We've had the news is just light, really, really light today. I went through and double checked everything. I added a couple of articles at the end, but overall pretty light content. So that's why we're getting you out of here at a record early time. Even with the commentary at the beginning of the show today, we're able to knock this out pretty fast. And it's actually kind of a good thing. I'm jet lagging bad, but I'll be back with you on Thursday. So if you have comments on today's show, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. It's my pleasure to bring the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying subscribed. Thank you for being part of the Ohana and being insiders at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Of course, the support of the sponsor is greatly appreciated as well. We'll see everyone on Thursday. Everyone take care. We'll see you. Aloha.